All right, last night on CNN, otherwise known as the Cannabis News Network, Joe Biden nailed Trump for poor judgment when communicating.
I think it shows really poor judgment for the president to perform the way he does, particularly with tweets, but not just with his tweets. Words matter. This is not a game. This is not about can I puff my chest out bigger than your chest? It's not presidential.
Oh. Wow. Yeah, so Biden told Trump how words matter. This from a guy who could supply America's funniest home videos with a decade full of flubs, not counting the words lifted from other people's speeches.
Ouch.
Remember that? But I kid Joe, we know what he's up to. He's sticking his toe in the pool of the next election. Let's just hope, Kimberly, he's wearing swim trunks this time.
Midnight swimmer.
Yeah, he does tend to forget them. Swims naked. All right. Fact is, labeling Trump's rhetoric as not presidential isn't just old news. It misses the point entirely. That rhetoric may be providing the progress missing when Biden was too busy hugging anything that moved. And America already gets it. Biden seems stuck in the past. He's Fred Flintstone in a Jetson world. And yet, he's the Democratic Party's new blood. Fact, since Trump unleashed his tongue-in-cheek tweets, North and South Korea are now talking. It's amazing that a twice-divorced dude like Trump is such a good marriage counselor.
Take it easy.
Really? Yeah, there's 17 between you two. And other countries are finally coming around to our way of dealing with North Korea. Sometimes you got to speak crazy to beat crazy, and it's way more persuasive than the analysis of paralysis that characterized Obama's chin-stroking navel-gazing. Biden claims that North Korea is not a game, but come on, everything is. And the evidence here suggests that we're winning. Focusing on words, not deeds, reveals Biden's ignorance of success. Let's hope that's all he reveals. Yes, indeed. Indeed. Gearing up, Kimberly Biden? Is he gearing up?
Gearing up, indeed. He's a little chatty these days, right?
Well,
I think
slow
so.
and chatty doesn't win the race.
But it's interesting because, yes, he is. And his rhetoric sort of matches that because you see, like, the Democratic Party and the left, like, twinning with the mainstream media about this whole thing, the hyperbole of President Trump is so dangerous. What is he doing? These tweets, we should make sure maybe they should be blocked. Maybe he should be impeached. This is reckless. It's endangering all of us. It's poking the cage of North Korea into action and making us all unsafe. And then, therefore, no one can sleep at night. Their son's screaming inside and then little yoga balls. So, but he's appealing to that mood, that sort of like panicked euphoria over Trump. And the more they think if he can tweet something, they get excited because they think, oh, wait a second, maybe this will be it. Maybe this will finally shed the light on him. But ultimately, I think, yes, Joe Biden's probably thinking he should have, ran instead of Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, they talked him out of it. Dana, he's had more gaffes than a gaff-making machine.
I mean, are we counting that now?
Yeah, I mean, that's what
It's a look back.
I mean, I thought that was, it's all, like...
No, but it's funny that he's now the arbiter of this.
Well, but I think that I do think he's trying to put his toe in. I think that's one of the reasons he was speaking so slowly. He was trying to be very cautious in his words, which is not necessarily which will help you win an election.
No.
Right? I think we just learned that. I think that it's going to be different under President Trump because he's not going to talk to our enemies the same way he talks to the United Kingdom and to Italy, right? So talking to North Korea is just going to sound and feel a little bit different. But if North and South Korea this week had not decided to open up a hotline and maybe hostilities deepened, I think that President Trump's administration would have had the flexibility to say, that's exactly what we want. And we would be praising it and saying, this is right because you've got to freeze them out. So they're flexible and they're just trying to figure out. I don't think anybody actually really knows what the end game is here.
I think I know the end game, Jesse.
What's that?
Everything's going to be great.
Just general world, it always is.
Oh, no, Lego movie. Everything is awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everything's going to be great. For the world, not necessarily for me.
I don't think
You'd be
President Trump has
disappointed.
been very presidential. I think he's been new age presidential, and that's what Biden's missing. It's a new Trump, it's a new presidency, and he was lower energy than Jeb. I've never seen Biden like that. It was kind of ridiculous, and to say that he has poor judgment, let's look back at Biden's judgment. Biden was against Russia, Reagan putting missiles in Poland. He was against Star Wars. He was against the bin Laden raid.
Oh,
he
FDI.
voted against Desert Storm. Then he wanted to divide Iraq into 3 countries. Then he was for retreating from Iraq. So the guy's got no legs to stand on. Why are we even listening to Joe Biden in the first place?
But isn't it not about Biden, though? It is about, in this specific instance, North Korea. So what happened? As I said yesterday, it's about the deeds, not the words. And what happened? President Trump agreed to suspend the joint military exercises with South Korea, thereby lowering or conceding something to North Korea, making more likely the North Korea-South Korea rapprochement. And in terms of the...
Say it again.
Making more likely the joint delegation for the Olympics. So there's real progress. What they have to do is to understand New Yorkers are different.
Yes.
He has a very flamboyant nature. There's an aspect of him that's, in terms of the charismatic reality show background that he has and promoting big business and creating big business. There's an aspect of him that is a lot of flash, but when it comes to the bang, you've got to look and see exactly what his policy is. And in this case, the policy is traditional. It's positive. It has succeeded, apparently, at least in this transitional stage. And I think you got to give the president a break.
Yeah.